Hello, hello, hello. We are back in Chapter 8, Geometric Figures, discussing Lesson 4, Angles and Polygons. So within these triangles, we need to find the unknown angle measure in each polygon. So let's go ahead and do that. For this problem number 1, we know that a triangle, all of the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and write our equation. Now we don't know this value right here, so we're just going to call that x, okay? So let's set up our equation. We're going to have 90 plus 45 plus x. All of these angles, if you add them together, they equal 180 degrees. Now we're just going to use our algebra skills to figure out what x is. Well, we see on this side of the equation, we can combine like terms with the 90 and the 45. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that on the side right here. 90 plus 45. 0 plus 5 is 5. 9 plus 4 is 13. 135. So we have 135 plus x equals 180. All right, now we just need to isolate x and get x by itself. Right now, x isn't by itself. There's a 135 on the same side, so we have to do the inverse operation of addition, which would be subtraction. We're going to subtract both sides of the equation by 135. These cancel out and become 0, and what we're left with is x equals, we have to subtract, so I have to borrow here, making that a 7. 10 take away 5 is 5. 7 take away 3 is 4, and it's 45 degrees. So the unknown value right here is equal to 45 degrees. Now it is your turn to do problem 2. Okay, so go ahead, pause your device. I want you to use this as a guide. Okay, your work should look exactly like this with the little work off to the side. So go ahead, pause, complete number 2. When you get done, press play, and we'll see you in a little bit. See you in a bit. All right, we are back. Let's go ahead and see how you did on problem 2. So we're going to write our equation. We know that all of these angles equal 180 degrees. So we're going to go 60 plus 70 plus, we're going to call this x, equals 180 degrees. Okay, we can combine like terms. We're trying to get x by itself, remember? So let's combine like terms on this side of the equation. So I'm going to go 60 plus 70. 0 plus 0 is 0. 6 plus 7 is 13. We have 130 plus x equals 180. So we're trying to isolate x and get x by itself. Means we need to do the inverse operation of addition, which would be subtracting 130 to both sides of the equation. That becomes 0. We end up with x. This is 0. 8 take away 3 is 5. 1 take away 1 is 0. So it ends up being 50 degrees. That is the unknown measure right there, 50 degrees. All right, let's look at the next problem. The next problem is problem number 3. Now 3 is slightly more complicated because we're not dealing with a triangle. So we need to go ahead and figure out what this unknown measure is. But first, we have to figure out how many degrees are in a quadrilateral, because this is a 1, 2, 3, 4-sided figure. So I need to figure out first how many degrees are there in this quadrilateral. To do that, I'm going to see how many triangles I can make in this quadrilateral. And if I connect right here to here, there would be 1, 2 triangles. So all of the angles in this triangle equal 180 degrees, and all of the angles in this triangle equal 180 degrees. So if I want to determine the sum of all of the angles, I would need to go 180 times 2. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 8 is 16. Write the 6, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 would be 3. So that means the sum of all of the angles equal 360 degrees. Perfect. Now I'm ready to write my equation. So the angles that I have 67 plus 90. Remember, this means that it's 90 degrees. Plus 90 degrees here. Plus, this is the angle that I don't know, so I'm going to call that x. Equals the sum of all the angles, which would be 360 degrees. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead and simplify. I need to get x by itself, but I need to combine like terms. So I'm going to add up all these numbers on the side. So 67 plus 90, plus 90. Okay, 7 plus 0 is 7. Let's see, 9 plus 9 is 18, plus 6 would be 24. 18 plus 6 is 24. Yeah, 24. Okay, so that means all of these, when you add them together, equals 247 plus x equals 360. Okay, we're still trying to get x by itself, so we need to isolate it. That means we need to get rid of this 247. To do that, we have to do the inverse operation of addition, which would be subtraction. We're going to subtract both sides by 247. When we do that, this cancels out and becomes 0. We now have x by itself, which is exactly what we want. And then we just need to do this subtraction. So the 0 isn't big enough. I need to borrow from the 6, making that a 5 and that a 10. 10 take away 7 is 3. 5 take away 4 is 1. 3 take away 2 is 1. So our angle is 113 degrees right there. Okay? So now let's go ahead and try problem number 4 together. So problem number 4, we have some angle measures here, right? So we have 40 degrees plus 121, I'm going to write my equation, plus 134 plus this unknown measure, which I'm going to call x, is going to equal, I don't know, I got to figure out what is the sum of all these angles. In order to do that, I need to divide this into triangles again. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4-sided figure. I'm going to divide this into triangles, see how many triangles I can fit in there. And that's it. This is one triangle, this is another triangle. That means this triangle is 180 degrees and this triangle is 180 degrees. So since I have two triangles, I'm just going to go 180 times 2. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 8 is 16. Right? The 6 carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 360. So I know that the sum of all of these interior angles is equal to 360 degrees. So that means 40 plus 121 plus 134 plus whatever this angle is, x, is going to have to equal 360 degrees. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure this out. So I need to isolate x and figure out what x is. To do that, I have to combine like terms. I need to add up all of these numbers. So I'm going to do that right here. 121, 134, and 40. I'm going to add all these. So 1 plus 4 is 5. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 2 is 9. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. So all of those numbers right here end up being 295 plus x equals 360. I'm still trying to isolate x, and now I can get x by itself. Right now there's a 295 on the same side of it. It's related to x through addition, so I need to do the inverse operation of addition, which would be subtraction. I'm going to subtract both sides by 295. This positive 295 and that negative 295 cancel each other out, and I'm left with x. Now x is by itself, which is what I need. Now I just need to do this subtraction. This 0 is not big enough to go against this 5, so I need to borrow from the 6, making that a 5 and making this a 10. 10 take away 5 is 5. And the 5 is not big enough, so I need to borrow from the 3, making that a 2 and making that a 15. 15 take away 9 is 6. So there we have it. My angle measure of the unknown is 65 degrees right there. Perfect. Now it is your turn, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to find the unknown measures. Go ahead and write your equations. Use these 4 examples as a guide. I want your work to look just like this, okay? It should look like this, okay, where you have your equation. If you do any math, you do it off to the side or off to the side here. It's not in the middle of your equation, okay? And so, yeah, go ahead and start problems 5, 6, and 7. And when, oh, there's our friend the pause dragon reminding us to pause, work those problems out. When you get done, press play, and we'll see how you did, okay? You can do it. I believe in you. Okay, we're back. Let's go ahead and see how you did on problem 5. So this is a triangle. We know that all of the measures of a triangle equal 180 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and call this x. So let's go ahead and write our equation. We're going to have 85 plus 65 plus x equals 180 degrees. Perfect. Okay, so we're trying to get x by itself. But first, I see that I need to combine these like terms. So I'm going to add those numbers up here out of the way. 85 plus 65. 5 plus 5 is 10. Write the 0, carry the 1. 8 plus 6 is 14, plus 1 is 15. So that makes that 150 plus x equals 180. Okay, we're still trying to get x by itself. Okay, so we need to isolate it. We need to do the inverse operation of addition, which would be subtraction. We're going to subtract both sides by 150. Those cancel out and become 0. We're left with x equals, we do the subtraction, 0 take away 0, 0, 8 take away 5 is 3, and 1 take away 1 is 0. So our answer ends up being 30 degrees. So if you got that for right here, this angle, great job. Let's go ahead and work on problem 6. So it's a triangle, so we know that all of these angle measures add up to 180 degrees. Again, I don't know this, so I'm going to call this x. And then I'm going to set up my equation. So 104 plus 30 plus x equals 180. Perfect. We're trying to get x by itself. But first we see that we have like terms, so we need to go ahead and combine those like terms before we start using our algebra skills. So I'm just going to need to add these. So I'm going to go up here and add this 104 plus 30 is going to give me 4 plus 0 is 4, 0 plus 3 is 3, and drop down the 1. So this ends up being 134 plus x equals 180. Okay, we're still trying to get x by itself. So I need to get rid of this 130. The 130 is related to the x through addition, so I have to do the inverse operation, which would be subtraction. I'm going to subtract both sides by 134. This is going to cancel out and become 0. I'm going to drop down that x. Now x is by itself. Woohoo! And now we just need to do this subtraction. This 0 is not big enough, so I need to go ahead and borrow from the 8, making that a 7 and this a 10. 10 take away 4 is 6. 7 take away 3 is 4. And 1 take away 1 is 0. So there we have it. There's our answer, 46 degrees. If you got that right, wonderful job. Okay, now we're on to the next problem here. This is not a triangle. This is a quadrilateral. It's 4 sides. So let's go ahead and set up the equation first. I know that I'm going to add up all of these angle measures. I don't know what this one is, so I'm going to call it x. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to add up these. So I'm going to go 35 plus 150 plus 40 plus x equals, well, I don't know what it equals at this point. So I need to go ahead and figure that out. To figure out the sum of the interior angles of a quadrilateral, I'm going to have to divide this into triangles and see how many triangles fit in this quadrilateral. If I do that, I would connect this side to that side. So I have one triangle and another triangle. This triangle, the sum of its interior angles are 180 degrees, and the sum of this triangle's interior angles are 180 degrees. So I have 2 triangles. So I'm just going to go 180 times 2. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 8 is 6. Carry the 1, or it's 16. 6, right? The 6, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. That means that the sum of all of the interior angles of this quadrilateral equal 360 degrees. Perfect. Now we just need to determine what x is, the unknown angle. To do that, we see that there's a whole bunch of stuff over here. So we're going to have to combine those like terms. So I'm going to add up 150 plus 40 plus 35. Ooh, that's going to be tight. 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. Plus 3 is 12. Write the 2, carry the 1. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. So all of these end up being 225 plus x equals 360. Okay, now it is time to get x by itself. I need to get rid of this 225. The 225 is related to x through addition, so I'm going to do the inverse operation of addition, which would be subtraction. I'm going to subtract both sides by 225. These cancel out. I'm left with x equals, I got to do the subtraction here. This 0 is not big enough, so I need to borrow from the 6, making that a 5, and this a 10. 10 take away 5 is 5. 5 take away 2 is 3, and 3 take away 1 is 135 degrees. And that's our answer. So if you got that one right, wonderful job. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to the next page. Problem 8 says divide each polygon into triangles to find the sum of its interior angles. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and we'll do 8 together. Okay, actually I'll do 9 and I'll leave 8 for you to do. Okay, so I want to find the sum of the interior angles. That means all of these angles, if you add them together, all of these angles, what do they add up to be? That's what we're going to determine. All of these angles. How many angles are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so to do that, we're going to divide this figure into triangles and see how many triangles there are, because we know for each triangle, the sum of the measures are 180 degrees. So what I see here is if I can divide this right here, that becomes a triangle. I can go right here. That becomes another triangle. And I can get one more triangle in there. Right there. So we have 180, 180, 180, and 180. So if I go 180 times 1, 2, 3, 4, I will find the sum of all the interior angles. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 8 is 32. Write the 2, carry the 3. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So the sum of the interior angles for this problem is 720 degrees. All right, perfect. So that's how these problems work. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is now your turn to divide each polygon into triangles to find the sum of the interior angles. So I want you to go ahead and get started on 8, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Here is our friend, the lovely Pause Dragon, reminding us to pause our device, work out those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 problems, and when you get done, press play and we'll go over it. All right, see you in a bit. You can do it. I believe in you. All right, we're back. Let's see how you did on problem 8. So I'm going to go ahead and divide problem 8 into triangles. I can divide it into 2, which means all of the angles in this triangle are 180 degrees, and all of the angles add up in this triangle add up to 180 degrees. To find the sum of all of the angles, I'm just going to go 180 times 2. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 8 is 16. Write the 6, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So that means the entire sum of all of the interior angles add up to 360 degrees. So if you got that one right, wonderful, magnificent job. Okay, let's go on to the next one, number 10. So we have this figure here. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-sided figure. And we're going to see how many triangles we can divide this into. So I see that I can divide it into triangles there. I can get another triangle there. And then, yeah, there we have it. So this is 180, this is 180, this is 180. So to find the sum of all of the angles, I can go 180 times 3, which is 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 8 is 24. Write the 4, carry the 2. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So that means the sum of all of the angles in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pentagon equals 540 degrees. If you got that one right, woohoo! Okay, let's go on to 11. So yeah, we just need to go ahead and divide this into triangles. So I'm going to start here. The first triangle I see is going to be here, connecting those two. Right there, that's a triangle. Okay, and then I see I can connect here. There's another triangle. There's another triangle here. Right there. There's another triangle here. And there's another triangle right here. Okay, so this is a triangle with 180 degrees, 180 degrees, 180 degrees, 180 degrees, 180 degrees, and another 180 degrees. That means there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 triangles that, so we're just going to go 180 times 6. And 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 8 is 48. Write the 8, carry the 4. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 4 is 10. So the sum of all of these interior angles, here, 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 this angle here, this angle here, this is a lot of angles, this angle here, this angle here, this angle here, and this angle here, all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 angles add up to 1,080 degrees. So if you got that one right, wonderful job. Okay, let's go on to the next figure. Again, like before, we're going to divide this into triangles. So I'm just going to go like that. My line was a little bit off, but that's the main idea right there. And there we have it. Here's a triangle, that's 180 degrees. Here's another triangle. So we have 2 triangles. So if we want to find the sum of all of the interior angles, we're going to go 180 times 2. 180 times 2, 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 8 is 16, write the 6, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So it equals 360 degrees. Okay, if you got that one right, wonderful job. Let's look here. We have a figure here. We're just going to go ahead and divide it into triangles. So I see there's a triangle here. To find the sum of all of the angles. Here's another triangle. Here's another triangle here. And then there's one more triangle right there. So if you look, we have 180 degrees with that triangle, 180 degrees with this triangle, 180 degrees with this triangle, 180 degrees with this triangle, and 180 degrees with that triangle. So if we were to, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to go 180 times 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 8 is 40. Write the 0, carry the 4. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 4 is 9. So the sum of all these interior angles ends up being 900 degrees. So if you got all of those right, wonderful job. But I want to take a look, for instance, for just a second. Hit all these. So here we have a 1, 2, 3, 4-sided figure. And over here we have a 1, 2, 3, 4-sided figure. And if you see, the sum of any 4-sided figure is going to be the same thing. 360 degrees. Do you see that? Do you see that? They're the same. So anytime, just like a triangle, any triangle is 180 degrees. Any quadrilateral is going to be 360 degrees. Any pentagon is going to be 540 degrees. Any hexagon is going to be, this is a hexagon, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Any hexagon is always going to be, the sum of interior measures is going to be 720. The sum of, what is this? Is this a, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Any heptagon, 7-sided figure, is always going to be 900 degrees. And I'm pretty sure that this is, well, I think it's an octagon. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. And the sum of the interior measures of any octagon is always going to be 1,080 degrees. So I just want to point it out. Kind of cool. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.